Well, firstly, work matters. Most of us work at something and usually within a company. And so the environment of work and changes in the workplace are interesting to plan for, anticipate and train for. And so what my chapter tries to do is to look back 20 years and see how much the work environment has evolved, and then tries the very, I think, ambitious task of anticipating what might change ahead and what are the main forces that are reshaping our workplace. And they include obviously technology, the changing character of the modern company, changes in education and the way it's delivered and received, and I think the evolving influence and leadership of women in the workforce. There are many influences at work. Generational change, for example, the ageing of our population, but there are some very important influences, and I think they include the continuing evolution in technology and the breathtaking improvements that we've seen and will continue to see. Secondly, the changing organisational design of companies that will take advantage of the technology so that we can deal one-to-one as against a big corporation to a massive consumers. I think education is at the moment being confronted by online delivery of courses at university level to a cohort of students that are already more sophisticated than in their use of technology than the universities or indeed companies can provide. That's going to be interesting to see as that unfolds in the next 10 years. And the last point is I'm very, very confident in believing that women are going to be a very strong influence on the workplace and work design into the future. And the reason for that is that we're seeing students come through universities where the proportion of girls graduating is much greater than boys. They are outscoring the guys. They are moving into what used to be the harder disciplines of science and mathematics. And they're entering the workforce confident in their ability to lead. And this has been developing now for the better part of 20 years. And I think this will now flow through into a workforce where the work is no longer of a manual kind. In fact, we are, as an economy, 3/4 of the jobs are service jobs. They are now jobs that will be enabled by technology and can be done inside a conventional office building or from home. And they can be done by capable women and will be done. So I think between technology, company design, educational systems and confident women that we're going to see over the next generation quite dramatic changes in the way work is designed and then undertaken in corporations. By the mid-1990s, almost all high school graduates in Australia had picked up some degree of facility in terms of online study on the back of the arrival of the internet. So today what you find is students are entering universities with a capability in the virtual world in terms of their experience from game playing or social media or using Google and Facebook and Wikipedia. These are the tools, these are the dimensions that define their approach to study and to learning, and they're using tools, smartphones, iPads, that are usually more capable than what the larger university systems can provide. So the universities are now being challenged to stay up to date with their students, but also to take advantage of the ability to deliver education online and to source courses, material, lecturers from the global community. And as they do that, and they're doing that as we speak, that I think will recalibrate the way graduates think about how you solve problems or how you work in teams or how modern processes should operate. And I think as education changes and as our graduates are processed through such changing systems, they'll hit the workforce with different standards, different work ethics, different expectations, and there'll be pressure on organisations to cope, to adapt, to improve. I think that'll be a very interesting thing to observe over the next 10 or 20 years. The work will follow us around because the technology will make that possible. The work will be increasingly knowledge work. So we're not, one of the regrettable changes in our economy over the last 20 years is the decline of manufacturing, but it's, to me, an irreversible decline. So the jobs are going to be primarily knowledge-based jobs. There will be a greater number of very, very capable and ambitious women entering the workforce. And the notion that we all have to aggregate in office buildings in cities and work 5 days a week, 8 hours at a time, will be challenged because it is a dated concept that goes back to the early stages of the Industrial Revolution, and that's 200 plus years ago. So I think that since the 1990s we've been building up to this point where there will be quite sharp changes in the sort of work that's done and by whom.